Hello, my name is Dan the Meek, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing the single pack format, different from the three pack that we've gone over before, as well as constructed. Um, there's a lot of overlap with these other formats, but each format is a little different in how you judge each pack or deck. In this case, you don't have control over it at all, but you're picking a pack specifically to choose to run. So we're going to go over how do you pick that pack. Again, there'll be some overlap with the other modes, but this one is unique in its own way. So we're going to go over those uniquenesses and kind of highlight the stuff that is overlapped. So first, again, so I can take my time with these, going over everything, we're going to go through a play versus AI mode here. We're going to select single pack format, and we'll choose hard mode. You do have the option, if you own no cards or just want to have some fun, pick Ethereal. You'll get a random deck, get thrown against the computer. It can just be a fun little match. I believe it's been some time for me, so I'm not 100% sure that there is some shard reward for like first time clear, maybe on hard mode against the AI for each of these, or at least one of them. But in any case, just be aware that's also available to you as well. Unlike these other modes where you have to have collection, this one has to be ethereal. This one you have the choice. You could just have it give you a random pack and lock it in. But if your goal is to give yourself the best chance to win, you have the collection here. You can also use the collection just to find something that seems fun to you. But there are ways you can improve your odds of success over ethereal by hand selecting a pack. Obviously, the more packs you have, the more options you're going to have, the more likely you are to find a good one. We had someone recently on the Discord, their very first pack was just top tier. So they doesn't necessarily mean you need a lot of packs to find a good one, but we're going to go over what a good one would look like, and then we'll take it for a spin and show you it in action. So first, I've selected single pack hard collection. I'm going to click on here to go through my packs. You can see I have quite a few to choose from. Win-loss record in here, I don't think I mentioned this in other videos, but this is only for ranked. So any ones I've played in hard mode or AI modes in here, they don't get logged. Anything with casual duels don't get logged. It's just if you played a ranked match, that's where these records are coming from. But in any case, let's. You can see I've got some I've favorited for various reasons. Often some of the ones I think would be good, but I favorite for lots of different reasons. Let's get out of my favorite section, look at some just ones that I didn't favor for whatever reason, and see if we can find one that's good, as well as just kind of go over why maybe some of these I didn't favorite. We'll start with just picking this one at random here. For the record, the names of these packs are randomly generated. You can rename them as well if you want to give it something else. But just be aware that they're just random names, 3 characters, 3 numbers. This little star here is what I was referring to when I said they've been favorited. So if you do have a pack you like, you can click on that. When you're first starting out, probably not a big deal, but once you got a lot of packs, as I do at this moment, nice to be able to kind of just have your favorite ones at the top. And I'll kind of re-favorite, unfavorite, that kind of stuff from time to time. All right, so what are we looking at? So the same principles as before all apply, but keep in mind that in this format, unlike constructed and even unlike 3-pack, we only have this one, whatever we're given randomly. So cards that might not be playable in other formats are a lot more playable here. It's much less likely that you're going to have all high speed, all low speed. Suddenly middle speeds are coming into play, and often, they can make a big impact if you have good ones, because again, they can actually win speeds. A 9 speed might beat an 8 in this format. Generally speaking, you still want to try to push a little more on the speedier side. This pack is not on average. 10.4 is the average speed. It's just barely under. I think it's 10.5 is the midpoint, since we go 1 to 10 and 11 to 20. So almost exactly average. You see this one's a little bit faster than average, a little bit slower. If you saw some of these other ones I have some that are very fast with high win rates. I have some that are very slow with high win rates. Here's one that does not have a great win rate, although I only played it the once. And who knows who I played against. Who you play against will also have impact on some of these scores. But all of which is to say, don't fret too much your speed or anything like that. But when I'm looking at cards, when I'm trying to pick a pack, where were we? Here we are. I generally I like to see high. If I'm seeing, say, a mid speed or low speed, then I'm hoping for some speed up here, and then that my low speed's so low because I got a lot of really low. The lower you get in speed, the more stats you get. So when you're in the mid range, why they're usually weaker is because they get a little more stats than the higher speed, but only a little bit. But once you get to the very bottom, these are the rarer speeds. So what is it, 17 to 20 and 1 to 4. In that range, because you're basically giving up almost always going first with that slow, you get a lot more stats in exchange. So you can see here, this 3 speed, look at those stats. Almost maxed out on 2 different sides, plus we got enforced. And even this side isn't even like a 1, so it's not even fully min-maxed. We could have this at 50 and this at what, like 47. So, and this is a 3 speed. It's not even 2 or 1, which get even bigger stats. So seeing these high ranges is still nice to see, but that just means that don't always trust this number here, because of 10.5, if it could be tons of high speed. Look at this. We got 18, 20, and then it's being pulled in 15, and then it's being pulled down by 3 and 4. So this has got a nice variety in it. Whereas, let's see, let's look at this one here. You see, this one's a bit more middling. I guess we do still have some speed in this, though. 20, 17. Also, you can see here we got an animated card. My opinion, one of the least impressive of the animateds I've seen. But it's also got the gold borders. This was a pseudo physical. All the physicals can only be the ones that give you golds, but they'll always be animated. Or at least that's my current understanding. Back to our original pack. So what I'm seeing on speeds, these look kind of cool. I see high, I see low. I like to see that. I don't mind if we have middle, but if we have middle, then I want to see lots of other good stuff to make it worth it. Going here, we looking for our foundations and manipulation balance. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 foundational cards, 6 foundational cards, only 2 manipulation, 1 disruption, 1 support. So this one is definitely foundation loaded. Little kind of more than I would like, not very balanced. That said, it does have at least 1 disruption and at least 1 support. So if this didn't even have a command, I would say this is it's a no-go, period. The fact that it actually does have a command and a fear, it is still playable. I'm not a huge fan of it. As you can see, again, it's not favorited. But these stats are great. I like the speed. The stats aren't too bad, especially for speed 20. You know, you're getting a 33 is pretty great. Again, I prefer strong corner like this, but these stats aren't bad either. I prefer a lower end opposite my range, but you could do worse. And 15 speed's pretty nice. Nice arrow on our command here. And command in general, fast or slow is all good. Speaking of which, 15 speed, I like it's a fast range. This one's well balanced. So, I mean, this can set up a fear or a trap even with on a 15, which is very uncommon. So that's actually really nice. The biggest issue here is it's difficult to set this one up because there's no stomps. If you got aura, you almost always want stomps. I kind of go over that a little bit in my aura video I posted yesterday. So worth keeping that in mind, that this one's going to be harder to land. The fact that it's so balanced, which is normally a good thing, isn't going to be as valuable because I can't set up I can't push somebody into it. Now, I can still fear someone with the dragon. I can command her to swing her around. There are ways to set it up. I can also potentially just get a corner anywhere, really, with this one being so well-rounded. But this one isn't going to go off as often as I would like. 4 enforced, just for the record, this is no longer possible. It's the max of 3. But this one is grandfathered in because before they changed that, you used to be able to get up to 4 of any type. That's why we have 4 here. So you don't have to worry about being in this scenario. But if everything else was manipulation, I wouldn't mind that. It'd make quite a defensive pack. But because that's not the case, and this one's kind of dead for us, or at least it's going to be a weaker without that stomp, this is probably not one I want to pick if I don't have to. I think you could still play this. Again, we have all the pieces to be playable, but I would put this more in the middling tier than a strong pack choice. Now let's look at this one. So we got a little bit more speed. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're pretty foundation heavy again. This is like, if you like defense, this is the pack for you. 4 enforced and a rooted. 20 speed here, fear. This is like, at some point, I just want to disrupt something. Bam. That's going to probably happen at 20 speed. And it's not bad for fear. This stat is much, stat spread is much more playable than if it was most other types. I'd probably still like at least one of the sides opposite the 22 here to be like a 1, so I could get a little extra something more somewhere else. But this one's not bad. This split I'm not a fan of, but it's on fear, which can handle it a little bit better. It's not quite as good as a stomp, but you can handle it better than some. The biggest issue here really is we got to have on a dragon. That's still kind of an issue because I'm not going to be able to get a double flight as a corner. So, not a huge fan of this dragon. It's not terrible. 15, 44, still very fine. It's going to get where I want. Again, with fear, that's nice when I can just make sure I hit something and get a flight and then turn it wherever I want. But the real killer, and this is something I've mentioned in all my others, is no command. If I have no command here, I've really got to be hitting on all something. Something's got to be doing really well in order to make up for it. And that's not what's happening here. This confuses okay, but again, it's a little more unmin-maxed for my tastes. Playable, but not ideal, especially with the 19 opposite the 34. And our rooted can only take this. It can't take both high grounds. And yet with the 6, it's probably going second, even if we draw it first. So there's a good chance it's going to miss out on the high ground, which is always unfortunate. This one can take either. This one can take either. This one could only take the lower, but at least it's a 13, so it has a chance of going first. So these are things to keep in mind. How good are we going to be at getting our own high grounds? Especially with rooted, you'd really like to be able to get it if you can. And this one also has that 43, so it could get either. So I would put this one a little bit below mid. You could run it, but it's even compared to that one, I think this one's going to have a better win rate than the pack we're looking at right now, because it has that command in there. And again, these ones both technically have 2 disruptions, with one of those disruptions being the dragon, but I don't know. Sorry, 3. This one is technically a little bit better balanced. Instead of 2, we got the 3, but command is a very valuable card just in general. For it to not to have it and have a lot of things that are kind of not a huge fan of that pack. All right, this one a little bit below average speed. What do we got? Anything super fast? We do. We got a very fast stomp here. I like that. Stomp's pretty versatile. Again, generally speaking, you don't mind having like a 1 somewhere, but the stomp is one of the most I can deal with any stat distribution and be happy with it, because it's going to squeeze itself where I want it to be, and I can take advantage of other things' weak sides, so its own weak sides aren't necessarily a problem. So this one's nice. We got double stomp here. Even just 1 enables aura to be potentially viable. 2, very much so. So that makes me think I hope we see some aura. Fear, it's got a low speed, so it's got decent stats. It's got a pretty good stat spread. So far I'm liking what I'm seeing. We got the aura. It's not a bad aura. Got an arrow here, the 9. Ugh. If this was an 8, I would love this so much more for single pack, but it's not. Again, I went over it in the aura video, but again, if we can score on one of these low sides, because they can't rotate our territory, and they rotating us won't keep us from scoring, that means nothing short of a stomp can keep us from getting one side. That means we only need to make sure on one of the other 3 sides we connect on something, ideally with our best side if we're commanding or disrupting them, and we get our aura. So it's very nice if you can take at least one of your sides here. The only thing I could say for him is nice, still big enough that we might be able to take our opponent's territory. So it's not entirely end of the world, but just so close and yet not quite close enough to be ideal with our territory, which is what we're going to get 50% of the time, and we can't guarantee our opponents is going to give us what we want. We got second aura. It's the dragon. So far we got a pretty nice balance. 3 manipulations, 2 foundations. He's got a nice corner. I'm going to say it's a she dragon. She's got a nice corner there. Nice distribution. Relatively fast. It's not going to work with our territory well for a trap, but since it's faster, that's not as big a deal because we can sneak in on some stuff. Especially in this format, a 14 might be good to go first. And 7 is still high enough that, depending on our opponent's territory, we might be able to set up a trap. Over here, and again, just the reason we call it a trap is because you play against it thinking you're safe, and then they just rotate on you, and then you can't get out of it. So I think that's kind of why it's a trap, or you go in and then something you think I'm safe here and you get pushed into the trap. Over here we have the confuse, so we got a variety now. I love that. Look at all this, all the different disruptions in a single pack. That's beautiful. So we can really set up these auras. That does mean we're very high in manipulation now, 4. So we'd like to see some more foundationals with what we got left. And we do got one here, flight, another well-rounded. It actually can take advantage of that 9 to get 1 point, but it's not as useful for flight because it doesn't care if it's getting 2. It just wants to be 10 or more above. But still doesn't hurt to have a spot you can place it where you'll always get at least 1 point unless they stomp you. And then finally we got a command. So we wanted a command. We got 2 stomps and a command. This is this deck. This is a pack. So I didn't favorite it, but I think we could run this one. Maybe we will. I think we'll think about it, maybe come back as the one to run, but we'll look at a couple more and kind of discuss a little more before we do that. But this could be a viable deck. You don't see Aura being viable too often in single pack, so it can catch some people off guard too, just because it is so dependent on getting the right support for it. But the support's all here, and the balance of everything else. We got the disruptions. We got something else we can support. Again, if this was just a little bit lower, this I probably would have favorited it, but as is, I still would say this is a decent pack. I'd say better than average. All right, let's start again. What are we looking at? Let's just go straight to the foundations, and we got 1, we got 2, we only got 2. So this is not a balanced pack. Now that doesn't mean we throw it out of hand. Let's make sure, do they have a command? We do not have a command. So we got no balance. We got no command. This is going to be a tricky pack. It's going to have to really blow us away with something else to make that up for those 2 downsides. The dragon is solid. 3 speed, so he's got lots of stats. Strong corner. He can hit across vertically if we do need to be in that situation. Again, it's a fear, so we could even use our 8 and play this away, depending on the situation, where we can turn their weak side against us. This dragon's solid. So is this axe thrower here, Mr. Hand Axe Dwarf. He's 8's not the lowest, but it's low, single digit across from our range. He's got a strong corner. This is solid as well. So, I mean, we're off to a good start. I don't know if that's going to make up for the downsides we've already mentioned, but it's not bad. Flight, we got a strong corner again. We got a nice arrow. Fairly min-maxed off that arrow. Decent speed. Again, this is a good top row. Here's our first stinker. Unfortunately, it is split. It is fear, so it's not as back-breaking as some, but it's still not what I'm looking for. I'd still rather have a corner if I can get it. I could live with it if we had a better pack, but this is still a knock against it. Over here, we got a stomp. Happy with that. Nothing to say other than it's nice and fast. I don't know that we have anything that we need that speed for, unfortunately. But you want to have some speed in your pack, especially if you're playing toward the end of the match, game turn 6 or 7. Nice to have something that gives you a good shot at going first, and he does give you that. We got Spider here, 49, 18, 14. I'd rather the 49 was here, so it was across from the 1. But that aside, otherwise, its stats are fine. Happy with that stat spread. I think I've said before, I generally prefer faster confuse, but in single format, 6 can be good enough. So it's not the end of the world, but I like the stats. Well-rounded confuse, not a huge fan of this one. I'd rather it be more min-maxed, at least on a corner, if not an arrow. But Over here, now this one's nice. We got a 19 speed, nice and fast. Unfortunately, the 4 is on the corner, not across. 26 isn't super high. So we split this apart a bit. This is another one of those that if I got this in a decent pack, I would be happy with this. A 19 speed is probably going first when I need to go first. 19 speed confuse. I like fast confuse. The stats aren't perfect, but they're good enough. But because what we've mentioned before, we have a poor balance and we don't have a command, I'm still going to say this is kind of a middling to slightly below middling pack. Not unplayable. This was my only pack. I'd still run it, but I'm not excited about this pack. Even though I haven't favored it, apparently I'm 6-0 with this one. So we'll see. Does that mean it was good? Why didn't I favor it? Let's take a look. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 foundations. So we already know it's going to be a nice even split. 2 commands, a stomp, and a fear. I like what I'm seeing. Nice even. We got commands. Now, some people don't like 2 commands. They'd always prefer 1 because if you draw them both, I've mentioned this before, then one of them's definitely fizzling on turn 1 if you draw them both together. That said, they are 2 slow commands. So if you are in that situation, at least you're getting a lot of stats on the field. In this case, we can't take the high ground, but probably nobody is in single pack unless someone got really lucky with a 50. Technically, I guess we could with our dragon if we needed to, but we'd miss out on the high ground. But he could take here, so I might play them if I was stuck with both in my hand. This one's got a pretty strong corner. I like this one more, but I think just because of the extra stats from being a 2. And it's a little more min-maxed. Yeah, I can see why I took this for a spin. It's got some nice stuff going on. This corner here is solid. This is a stomp. 40. That's going to do some work for you. A 50 on a rooted. You like to see that. I like it even more if it was a 51, but 50 is still good. If somehow 7 is good enough, you could even get a triple off of this. I don't like that the 3 is not opposite the 50. That's not fantastic because probably I'm playing the 50 down. And that 16 can't take 2 against either of these. So if I tried to put the 50 on the side and this 27 on the other side, it's not going to work on my own territory. So I don't love the dragon, but it is playable. Yeah, you see here 7.5 speed. It's pretty slow, but it's got good stuff and stuff I want slow, like commands and stomps. So I'd say that's not a detriment in this case. And again, I think the record, I guess, speaks for itself. But I'd say slightly above average again. I can see why I didn't favor it because I don't think it's incredible, but it's good enough. And again, sometimes that's what you're looking for, just something that gives you a fighting chance. and then it's just about piling it well and sometimes getting a little luck. I think we've already been going on for a little bit, so I'm going to look at one more here. Let's go over this. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 foundations. Hey, we recognize this guy. It's our dragon from one of our previous videos we picked out for the constructed deck we were building. So I think you can guess that we like our dragon here. He's very min-maxed, 52. So even with the 50 side, we could get it, and no one else can unless they got a dragon with over 50, since 50 is the max for non-dragons. I'd still generally rather go, like put the 52 against this 29 and get triple points, or just use it against one of something else that I can get flight on, because I can't get the flight if I go against 50. But if no one else can do anything on this 50, this dragon can still get 2 points off of it. See, it's a little slow. You can see with the 9.9, but we don't really have anything super slow like we did the previous pack. It's more of just a middling speed pack overall. There's nothing super fast offsetting the stuff. This 4 is fine. We don't see a command. Do we have one in? Yeah, we had a double command. Yeah, we don't see a command here. I think that's the real backbreaker to this pack, because this would be fine. This is a good corner. It could take this if it has the chance. It's 7. Probably not getting it, but you might. This is a solid stomp. This is a fine fear. We have the stomp. We're just missing a command for this guy, and he can set up a trap on either of the low grounds. So he's pretty snazzy. 13 speed's not bad either. This fear's okay. So honestly, even without the command, this is on the verge of I might play it. The command's what's keeping it from greatness, but it could be a viable pack. I'd say a little, at least middling, maybe even a little above, despite the lack of command. I like most of this pack. It's not great, but it's playable. I said that was going to be the last one, so I guess it will be. Let's go back up, and I think this is the one I said I liked before. Let's take it for a spin against the CPU. So let's just review why we said we like this pack, even though it's part of my unfavorited. It's got nice support for aura, decent balance. It's a little lopsided to manipulation, but I don't mind that as much if I have aura, because aura can give me lots of points, and so can flight. So if I'm going to go that route, this is a way I might do it. I don't think the territory was fantastic for us, but it was good enough. We're kind of almost hoping for our opponent's territory, which is not what you usually want, but in single packs, sometimes that's going to be your situation. So let's just take it for a spin. All right. So we got 2 of our foundations right off the bat, which is nice. When we have so few, you want to draw them early, and we did. Now, this is pretty early to play my dragon, and there's definitely nothing I'm going to be able to lock onto. It looks like we got the opponent's territory, so I actually can set up a trap against this. That actually makes that appealing. If this was like a 12, oof. They can also play against any of this. I'm hesitant to play my dragon so early, because he's going to be a major target for disruption, but there's not much they can disrupt me with. The worst they can do is put me from 2 points to 1. That 14 speed is nice. If we lost, if 14 is not good enough, he can't set up against the 8. Then he would be disruptible. At 8, he's definitely losing, but I'm just probably playing on whatever they don't go for. We got lots of things to set them up, so let's try to set this up as a trap. Unfortunately, it was not good enough. That was worst case scenario. It happens. 17 speed, wow. And of course, they don't have anything we could set up against either, although, I mean, even if the 5 was facing out here, they have the ability to spin, unlike the territory, so it wouldn't be a true trap. The territory works because of the fact that they cannot spin it. So all their manipulation cannot work on the territory, and it cannot work on you. With their units, they can still command their unit. So there is still a manipulation that can undo a setup. All that said, with what advantage we do have going second as the dragon is that we will be able to range them, since they weren't able to take a spot away from us. I don't know where that would even be. We'd probably they'd have to go up here because we would have gone down here to the 2. As a rule of thumb, I tend to prefer to go against the territory just in general, because if they do manipulate me, they flip me around here, they're not going to be able to score a point. If they switch this to a 7, I lose my points, but I don't also take damage. If I'm here and then and they flip me around, not only do I lose these points, but they score a point against me. So that's why I'm going to prefer this spot. It also lets me attack a spot that's maybe more likely to play. I don't know if that's going to be the case here. 41's pretty high, but it's not too crazy that they might have a 42 or higher they'd want to play here, and now I'm thwarting it with this range, taking away a 2-point play and just making it a typical 1. Yeah, let's go with that. Do we care about this way or this way? The advantage to this is that if I want to attack this corner, I can cover up my weak side. The advantage to this is that this 32 is definitely in play. Whereas if the wall goes down, if we build down, this 7 goes off the board, which isn't bad either. But whereas if we put it up here, this 30 it might get pushed off a play. If we go down, now that 30 is not in play anymore. So having the 7 up there, if we push down, then we don't mind losing our 7. And if we don't push us off the top of the board, now we put in play at least this range, because now if we go up 1 row, then this is something that's being attacked still. So these are things to consider, and it's with that consideration in mind that I think I'm going to go this direction. Should be worth noting that even if it was a 7, I have the potential to push him over into that 7. But with the 32, I also have the ability to get a flight on top of the aura if I'm able to pull off that combo. Let's give it. Now with the dragon, we do lose our range if we do push them, so that's something to consider, but it's still usually going to be worth it. So despite their going first and thwarting us a bit, we are ahead, but it's kind of a fool's gold lead since we played our dragon, they have not. So I would consider this more actually them maybe slightly ahead since they haven't played the dragon. What do we want to do here? We don't have anything we want to command yet, so this is a pretty easy pick. And generally, we want to prefer foundations and prefer low speed early game. Again, that's just general rule of thumb, not always the case. So I think we're going to go with the gargoyle. Not going to think about this one too hard. They have the ability to push us, which isn't ideal. For the record, counterplay to aura. Let's say you're running into lots of aura players, driving you crazy. How do I deal with this? These traps that I can't get out of. That's how you get out of them. Make sure you have at least one stomp and stomp them out of it. Now, as you can see, they couldn't push me down without also pushing me into that. So they were forced to either push up or back. With back making more sense potentially, because then I don't get this range anymore. If they push me up, I'd still be hitting the territory. But it does mean that I am getting flight against them. They could have put the 27 and only got 1, but then they wouldn't score on the other end. So I think their choice was reasonable. It does mean we are no longer close enough to pull off any of our tricks. But they've also made a corner for us we can exploit here with this. Now, we have a couple aura, if I remember correctly, so we could also put him there, but we don't know if they'll keep that open. This is a kind of a great situation for us, because with this range attacking, if they plug it, we're scoring off of that as well. This is when you're kind of wishing you had the aura, because you'd be getting 4 instead of just the 3. but I've said this before. Usually, I'm going to take the one in the hand over the two in the bush, as long as the match is still close. There are exceptions, like if I'm falling behind, I got to make up ground. You got to play the risks. But right now, we're right on top of each other, so I don't think it's worth trying for that extra point with an aura. I think I'd rather just take this. As far as orientation goes, actually, I think I want to go this way just so that I have a stronger corner here, since I am creating a corner for him and exploiting his. If he wants to stomp again, it got a 41 in this direction. This way, he can 13 is stompable, but then he takes the range. So overall, I think I like this orientation best. This puts us back in the seemingly lead, but again, keep in mind, he has not played that dragon. Till he plays that dragon, I don't feel safe. You never know what's going to happen with the dragon. They can be stopped, but they have higher score potential than your average card. All right, so we got our Balrog, or whatever that guy is. What are those, like spike wings? And we've got our command card here. Looking very commanding. Still nothing we want to command. I don't really have anything I want to fear either, but luckily he's a 3, which means there's a good chance he'll play before I do, and I'll have a fear target. So again, this is one of the reasons why with manipulation, it can be advantageous to go slower. Again, fear can go either way. There's good reasons to go fast as well, but it's flexible, unlike some where there's a preferred speed. So I'm going to go with that, keep this command around for potential tricks later. So he is going for an aura of his own. And as it turns out, he has the ability to exploit that corner we gave him even with our stronger setup. So naturally, I want to undo that. The question is, which side do I want to attack from? If I go here, I create a corner there. If I go here, I create a corner. So there's not a way to avoid the corner with my fear card here. I kind of want to keep this range in play in case we do get pushed to the left. So I don't want to play into it. That makes me more inclined to go down here. He also has 2 reds to 1 blue here, so forcing 2 of his attack targets in. I mean, I'm taking up one of them, but it means I'm less disadvantaged than if over here it's more even. Now I've created this target, and I've already used up all but one side of that target. So with that in mind, I'm going to go down here. Let's see, I think this is probably our best orientation. So in this case, push the 36 away. If this gets pushed off the table, then it's a tough side I don't have to deal with anymore. If this side gets made playable again, maybe he wants to put us in because I got 2 blues, then in the process, he also makes these ranges in play again. So give him a no-win situation. Nothing else that's going to win against this 21 or the 36. And I do want him to get both flight and aura, and him to get flight and aura. So I do think this is the optimal setup, even though it does create another exploitable corner for him. So let's hope he doesn't have a second aura. Also, would not like it if he has a command. It is 1 pack, so he's not guaranteed to have it, but, you know, it could happen. So if we can somehow push this off the table before he can get in there and fix it, that would be great. That flight's really doing some work for us. We're up to what? 5 points off of that 1 flight. We definitely do not want that getting stomped. Middling speeds. We do have a confuse, so if you were to play in here with command or somewhere over here, there are ways for us to undo it again and put it back in the position we want. there anything we can set up here to make a nice situation for us? Not really. We're pretty happy with all his setup as is. Yeah, I don't think there's anything I want to stomp, which is not great because I want to hang on to that command as well. This might be one of those unfortunate situations where we don't stomp with our stomp. We just played against something, but he might go faster than us and have something that we want to stomp. Or it may turn out that we do want to plug this hole or something like that, depending on what he's got. I don't know that there's really a way for us to force him off at this point, because like if we go down here, he can still get into that hole. If we get over here or over here, there's still this gap. So we can block off this side and prevent this thing from being an access point, but there'll still be this corner. So I am kind of tempted to just force that though, to kind of go over here if I have to, even as just using it as the body. And I do have another stomp, so I'm more inclined to use the stomp over my only command as well. Well, we went first, but his was a rooted, so we weren't going to have that as a viable target anyway. I think what I was saying before is what I'm going to do, which is try to close that wall. So I want to lock him in place. I'm not sure what I'll do next turn in this spot if I have to go there, but if I can go faster than him, then I have a spot I can fill in that'll prevent him from playing his command. He might just fill it himself, which would be best case scenario. By playing this here, that would mean that if he plays here, he gives up all opportunity to fix that. Because he can get 2 off of this corner with this rooted. And I would not be angry about that if he filled it in for us, especially with this lead. I know I'm thinking a lot for someone who's up 12.5 to 3.5. But a lot of these points are not locked in. Until they're locked in, and especially until he's played his dragon. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But let's push it to 13.5 to 3.5. And again, the core idea here is let's push this off the side. So we're giving up our range, but we're pushing off his 36, and we're making it so there's only one spot available for him to command. And if he wants to take advantage of these 2 points here, he's got to lock it up himself. As far as this, let's put the 2 off the table. And 19 is good enough currently. I'm not too worried about him being able to hit this, although it's not impossible. It feels like an Aura Dragon that's slow or something. 26 is decent, so we'll lock it in. And I guessed correctly that he would take that opportunity for 2 points. I can't fault him. I don't know. He might not even have a command. But again, he has now guaranteed he cannot fix this. He can still target all 3 of these guys. This one via confused. The worst case would be if he stomped up there. This I don't care that much about. With that in mind, I kind of want to like push this board down here to lock this in. I hate that I drew my stomp though. I would prefer to save that, especially since I don't have a good command option. Everything's where I want it to be. I can flip this guy around, doesn't do me any good. This 21 is going to beat any other side I have here. The advantage, though, as much as I hate to burn this stomp, is we've already got one of our auras set up, and this speed will almost certainly let us create a wall and lock in this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points permanently with our dragon. A 6-point dragon is a solid dragon. All right, so how do we want to play this here? Nothing again. We're fizzling a second stomp, which isn't great, but we did go first. He's got a pretty nasty dragon coming in, and a dragon who unfortunately can spin this guy around, and in doing so, spin it into it, lock him in place where we won't be able to command him out of it. The good news is we win on every side against everybody except him. Um, so he actually can't do that much damage. He will be able to get 2 range points though, but 2 and then what? He can take away a point maybe. Not even sure if he can do that actually. Regardless, I'm not too worried about what he can do there. What I'm worried about now is if I do something, will I cause some damage? And this spot right here would cause huge damage from him. Um, he'd actually only get 1 point off of the dragon naturally from here because we negate each other. But he can flip this around, take away this 6 points. I do not want that to happen. So let's play down here. The question is, do we just play a corner or we try to attack? We can't win against this. So I think this is the case where we're just going to play a card here. Yeah, I think I'll just go 26 out. I mean, this makes a weak corner to be stomped, but he's going to get me no matter what if he pushes me over here. And then I'll still have a 26 facing out. So I think I like this orientation. Again, I'm intentionally playing for 0 points to shape the field so that I've locked in that play up there. If he plays his dragon here, he can get 1, 2, 3. He can spin this so that I get 1, 2 less there. So he can get some decent points here, but it is a dragon. It's hard to stop him from getting those decent points. So again, 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5. We're up quite a bit though, so we got that to spare. And in this case here, if he does that, now he's locked off all this, but I don't care because now he doesn't have them as targets, and he's got a lot of his own targets available to me, including the 5 that he'd have to put out here from his dragon in order to get the 2 points off of my 26. So let's do it. So he went a different direction. Not mad at that. This is something I can command, so I can actually salvage this and hide my command pack here potentially while I salvage it, continuing to leave him with very few attack vectors. He hasn't given me any weak ones. That's an advantage he had. If I had a stomp, I could push these apart. Although nobody would have been able to win on this 29, so that's wouldn't have been that big a deal, but this would be a nice stomp here, get the 13 on 13 if I had it. He did not create any corners for me. I have no stomps to create them myself anymore. I do still get confused, but I'm going to assume I'm going to leave this aura for dead. It's probably not going to go off. This might be a good time to throw up my command. Then depending on what he does will determine if I go with the aura or if I go for the confuse in the final turn. Usually I'm not a huge fan of confuse late because there's so few vectors that it's really hard to get value off of them. Often they're just going to fizzle late and slow confuse even more. This is more middling, but it's the slower end of middling. But I do like those stats. I mean, this guy's stats. So who knows what we're going to do next turn. But I do think right now, maybe we have some things we can spin around now. We can save this, and I can hide it back there potentially. So there's at least some value for this command. And there's not really much else out right now that I want to command now that he's locked this in and I successfully locked that in. So we're going to go with command. It's fastest, best shot at getting that corner. And we did. I could hit here, but then I take one from there, and there's nothing I care about spinning. So this was sticking with our plan. He's not doing anything. 0 points. But we face our 29 down just in case he stomps. But then we spin this around, put our 26 down, and we got not an easily exploited stomp point here. We're hitting this, get our 2 points. This is a fine turn. We're maintaining our lead. And we haven't left him much he can attack. We don't have a weak point anymore. We got 2 26s. This was his best option. He gets 2 because he hits and also ranges. But in doing so, he creates a corner for us. 32, 23 is enough. This one's faster. Unfortunately, the rooted, I can't target that, but I don't care about confusing any of this. If he goes here, he gets no points. The only downside is I'm giving up a point no matter where I play, because he'll lose a point here or he'll lose a point there if I go second. And with 6 speed, I'm probably going second. But again, he's got to make up 5 points. He can't do that. Not with what I have available to him, which is just this single card, and it's only scoring a point. So I think we got this, but let's make him make a difficult choice on his final turn by playing the aura. He had his own aura. He just went for the point. That's fine, but since the match was over, it didn't really matter. But it does mean I win by more than if he had blocked here. So with that, we win again, 18.5 to 11. We got 4 aura, 4 flight. He won the speed battle since we were kind of middling and a little slow, but that's all right. He scored a bunch of range points. We scored none. Didn't matter. We won a lot of challenge battles as well, which you're going to see a lot when you're going for aura and flight. But there you have it. So we actually had some bad luck that prevented us from using some of the combos we wanted to do. The command didn't do anything with our auras. But you saw how this kind of combo of just in my aura video, I mentioned for demonstration, I put a lot of aura, but often it's nice to just have a couple, because then you have lots of ways to manipulate that couple to make sure that they end up how you want it. And you can see, like this dragon, that's 6 points. That was huge. He had a solid dragon, but he didn't get 6 points solid. And this could be even more, or I mean, the dragon was still something I could attack. So all of which is to say, I hope that was helpful to you to see just some thought process of how you might pick a single pack. To review again, just the basic concepts, just be less stingy on, well, it's got to be really optimized. It's okay to be missing some stuff, but you still generally want to try to find a somewhat of a balance. This one wasn't that balanced, but a somewhat of a balance and a nice variety. And if you can get that command, I mean, in this case, it didn't even make that big of a difference, but it's still nice to have, to know you could use it. But really, look for your synergies. And if you have any questions, comments, leave them, please, in the comments of the video. You can check us out on Discord. I'm on there a lot. Lots of other players, including the developer Carl, is on there. That's the Wise Wizard Games Discord, the Draconis 8 section. And hope you're having yourselves a great day.